TikTok right now. Hello, YouTube. How are you guys? TikTok is launching now. Actually, TikTok is live. There, that was relatively painless today. Shockingly, Alexa, the temperature 1 degree. All right. Welcome, guys. I'm going to put on my fan in this room to help the air a little bit. This time of day, it always gets warm here. La la la. Hello, all. Here we go. Fan. Start. Boom. Good job. All right. Welcome, everybody. John Aravosis here. How are we all doing? As always, we'll give a minute for TikTok and YouTube and Discord too, but for folks to arrive. So welcome. How are we doing today? Pretty good day. Warm day in Washington. 80s, which is nice for the week. Actually, we're finally having our summer temperatures here in DC, which is nice. Hey, Kenneth and Norve. Gunther made it just home. All right, good for you. Hey, Pingu, thank you for the gifts. Gabs, Richard. Oh boy, how are we doing today, guys? I'm not tired. I'm like, well, Damien, we went for a walk with the dog and stuff, which was nice. Not exactly too busy of a day. Oh, hello. That was the shout out. Thank you, Jocelyn. I don't think I'd noticed that gift before. Thank you. 100 degrees in Fresno. Wow. Yes. Voice is hanging in there. I think it's being better. I'm still trying to keep the show to a little over an hour just to protect the voice, but I think it's being better. Yes, had a busy weekend and also busy couple days. We had another surprise with Ukraine today attacking the Kirch Bridge, which was great. So that was fun. We're going to talk about that. Oh, thank you, Randy, for the gift. Oh, hello, New York, visionary girl. Hey, Movim. Good to see you too. Welcome, guys. I'm John Aravosis. This is my show. Thank you, Elizabeth, Heather. We basically get together every day, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. I'm in Washington, D.C. My background is foreign policy, journalism, politics, and I try to help you guys digest the news, what's going on. Certainly an American perspective. I'm American. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Randy, Shannon, for the gifts. But also, more I try to really get inside the news for you guys with my background working in Washington and politics. Again, journalism, all of that, international affairs, and trying to help you maybe, if possible, if I'm able to add any value to what's going on below the news. Like, what does this all mean, right? Are we in danger? Oh my God, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what the show's about. Thank you more for the gifts, Agnes and Smurf and Visionary. Kenneth, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Very nice of you. Last little quick pitch for that. I always hit you guys up, ask you for gifts because I do this for a living and your gifts help pay the bills. We're not done with the auctions. I just have to get off my ass and actually I've got a ton of auction items in my entryway. I have to get off my butt and actually organize it. I got a little burned out. It was like mailing out the auction items each week burned me out a little bit, but I have to start doing it because I've got the auction items. They are fun. They do bring in some extra money too, but they also are fun. And I've got a ton of stuff. I've still got a camouflage net among other stuff. We've got some really cool auction items still. So I do need to do those again. Thank you, Big Hawk. Thanks for reminding me. Maybe mods, remind me one more time tonight and I'll leave myself a note out and grab some auction items. So Russia will not attack NATO or the UK because they're chicken. And they're less powerful than we are, so they wouldn't dare attack us. Literally, they're not going to attack us. They're chicken, and they're weak. So that's not going to happen. Thank you, Chazak. Thank you, Jorge, Maiden, all the rest of you. Let's get rolling. So let's start with the U.S. news first. Then we'll get into Ukraine. Trump made this is kind of funny. It looks like we may have a nuclear deal with Iran. As you know, concerns about Iran developing a nuclear weapon. President Obama had reached a deal with Iran to slow down their weapons production or their advancement towards possibly being able to produce a weapon. And Trump killed it. Trump threw the deal out and said, this is a bad deal. Well, by getting rid of the deal, he then freed Iran up to go get closer and closer to producing a nuke. Trump, and this is actually pretty hilarious. Trump just offered Iran a nuclear deal to, restrain themselves to some degree, blah, blah, blah. It was Barack Obama's deal. Trump just offered the Iranians the deal that Barack Obama offered them and that they signed with Barack Obama, and the deal that Donald Trump threw out during his first presidency is the deal Trump just offered the Iranians. There's a word for that. We call it taco. Trump always chickens out. Trump always caves on everything. The best part is I'm not the one telling you that the deal Trump offered is Obama's deal. Thank you, Heather. I have to do my dragon fire for the TikTok people. I'm not the one telling you that Trump's deal he offered China or Iran, excuse me, is Obama's deal. The one that Trump threw out is the same deal. Breitbart offered it. Breitbart is this huge MAGA publication. They're not news. They're Republicans, but they're MAGA Republicans. They're crazy, but they're mainstream crazy. They're like mainstream MAGA. They came out and said that Trump's deal he offered Iran is the same deal that Obama offered Iran. Steve Bannon, all the rest of them. Yep. So it's pretty freaking funny. Look, I hope it works. I hope Iran accepts the deal since it was Barack Obama's deal. But could Donald Trump cave more than literally the deal Trump killed years ago is the deal Trump is offering Iran? Barack Obama's deal. Exactly. Not all tacos are bad. In this case, it's a good taco, but it's still funny as hell though. Taco. Elon Musk. So Elon Musk excoriated Donald Trump today. This is actually, well, by proxy, maybe. Elon is livid that the Republicans are about to pass Donald Trump's big legislation he's trying to get passed. Trump is trying to pass a massive tax cut for the rich, not for the rest of us, but massive tax cuts for the rich. He's cutting money for Medicaid and food stamps, but Trump's proposal is so expensive, it's going to add $3 trillion to the national debt. $3 trillion, Trump's budget bill. Okay. Huge amount to the national debt. Elon is livid. Thank you, Max House, for subscribing. Elon is listen to what Elon said today about the legislation. I mean, again, it's hard for me to explain to you sufficiently how big this bill is for Trump. This is Trump's big signature bill. It's his tax cuts. It's everything. And Elon, listen to this. Listen to this. Elon tweets today. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. A disgusting abomination. Pork-filled. Pork is all the special interests, the lobbyists and stuff. It's considered the bad stuff, right? This is brilliant. Now, Elon is not doing this to curry favor because Trump will hate this. This is so strong what Elon is saying. This is Donald Trump's number one thing he's trying to do. For Elon to excoriate it and say it's disgusting abomination, that's not, Elon's doing this to look good. Elon, what is happening is Trump and Elon had a falling out. Trump and Elon don't like each other anymore. Trump screwed Elon, by the way, on the way out, and Elon left the administration. Elon's pissed, so Elon feels, A, that he's free to say what he thinks, but also Elon's a bit of I'm trying to find a word I can use on TikTok in Ukraine, kind of a vicious, vengeful biatch, a little bit. Elon, like Trump, seems to go after people when they go after him. He seems to sort of say things and you go, oh, Elon's saying this. It's not just a hothead. It is more of a drama queen, like Kelly. In honor of Pride this month, well, drama queen is more. And diva, that's also in honor of Pride. Thank you, Flaming Mo. Flaming Mo, that's pretty funny. Right? So Elon is doing this because he's pissed at Trump. Now, keep in mind, remember what happened last week? And I talked about this. Remember when Trump a week or two ago, mean girl, you guys are cracking me up. Thanks, Ash. When Trump went to the Middle East, to Saudi Arabia and everything, and the U.S. brokered this AI deal, artificial intelligence deal with the Arab governments, selling them a bunch of chips from NVIDIA, doing a bunch of, I don't even know what they're doing with AI, but they're doing something with OpenAI that has ChatGPT and some other companies. Well, Elon Musk wanted a piece of the pie. Elon Musk was pissed that his AI company wasn't part of the deal the U.S. brokered with the Arab governments. Elon got on the phone and told the Arab governments, or through their representatives, and said, "You'd better include my company in this deal, or Donald Trump is going to kill it if you don't include my company." So they went to Donald Trump, and Trump said the deal's fine. Trump approved the deal without Elon Musk after Elon had already publicly told everybody that Trump will kill the bill if you don't include me. That is Trump being a biatch, and this is Elon doing it back. They clearly had a falling out. Look, we've known for several months. That Trump and Elon, there was trouble brewing. Thank you, Terry. Right? That's not even what I'm telling you is a fact reported in the papers. What I'm telling you about Elon getting on the phone and threatening and saying Donald Trump is going to kill this. He said this on a phone call with multiple people. And then the White House reviewed the plan and said, it's a good plan. Don't include Elon. It's fine. Yeah. So this has been going on for months. We knew for months there was this kind of weird thing with Trump. For example, all the weird stuff Elon kept talking about how he won the election. He kept telling people, I did it. I spent, $200 million or whatever the hell it was, 300 million, and I won the election. Donald Trump. Trump doesn't want to hear that Trump, right? You're Donald Trump. You won the election. Elon didn't win the election, right? All the comments about Elon being co-president that we were talking about, right? Which is very interesting as well. I'm really fascinated by this entire thing. Really fascinated. So in any case, let's talk a little bit about Trump's bill. I was doing some more of the math and a little research today. Trump's bill is going to add about $3 trillion in new debt. The U.S. already has I'm going to say 37 trillion. Let me ask ChatGPT what the current U.S. debt is. I was asking you other stuff. How much is the current U.S. national debt? I think 37. I'm going through. That's what I recall. Let me see what it says. It's upper 30s. 36.2. Pretty good. 36.2 trillion. This is how much the U.S. owes, like how much we spent more than we could afford every year. $36 trillion. Trump's deal, his tax cuts for the rich are going to cost another $3 trillion. Excuse me. No, they're going to cost almost $5 trillion. But he's cutting Medicaid, which is healthcare for poor people, for elderly, and for people with disabilities. He's cutting food stamps for poor people. And he's going to save maybe $2 trillion, he thinks, doing some other stuff too. So that Trump is going to add almost $3 trillion to the national debt that is already almost $37 trillion. And he's going to add another $3 trillion. Google it. Like a cat. This isn't even debatable. The Republicans are admitting this. Elon has a reason to be mad. I was Googling the interest on the debt. The interest on the U.S. debt is already $659 billion a year. You pay interest on your debt, like you have a student loan or a car loan or your credit card, and they charge you a certain percentage each year. The charge on our debt that we have to pay, so to speak, is $659 billion a year that we pay just on this. $659 billion. It's going up to $1 trillion, they're saying. Next year, fiscal 2025, which is actually starting in October, $870 billion, our debt. And guess what causes it to go up higher? Interest rates. When interest rates go up, right? When interest rates go up, your debt payment goes up. Guess why interest rates are going up? Because Donald Trump is playing games with the economy. Donald Trump is playing games with tariffs. And because the debt is making people so worried about the U.S. economy that they're raising it, the interest rates are going up. Again, I will do a quick little shout out and say, this isn't Democrats' fault, but Democrats kind of suck because how much do the Republicans have to give Democrats? That's right. The U.S. Debt rating went down. Correct weighting. U.S. debt rating went down as well. How much do the Republicans have to give you? How many bad things do the Republicans have to do before they're able to use it against the Republicans, right? I mean, Republicans like to claim that, they're the big ones that cut the budget and it's Democrats who tax and spend and right? What? Well, no. Oh, hang on a second. My brother is sending me a text. My brother was calling me. I'm telling him a text saying I'm doing my show. How hard is it for Democrats to be able to sit there and go, Republicans are adding $3 trillion to the debt, right? Republicans are causing, that's it on its face. $3 trillion. Donald Trump's budget Donald Trump's budget. Listen to this. The budget deficit each year, this blew my mind too. The budget deficit each year is already at $2 trillion. The budget deficit. So in other words, the budget deficit is how much are you spending? How much money are you making? How much money are you spending? So how much money is coming in taxes, et cetera? How much are you spending? The deficit is $2 trillion. Is our deficit every year. I mean, it's crazy. Now, what's a big part of the problem? Republicans don't want to raise taxes. And not only do Republicans not want to raise taxes, they keep cutting taxes. And when you cut taxes, and they're cutting taxes for the rich, but even if you cut taxes for everybody, guess what? There's not enough money to spend on anything else. I mean, it's very bad. Now, one final problem I'll say, and we'll move on, is in the US, one of the big problems you've got is not the big problems, but a lot of our budget goes to defense, which no one wants to touch, right? No one wants to cut defense. Medicare, which is healthcare for seniors, for retired people, and Social Security. Well, Social Security, which is the retirement plan that Americans all get, because we don't really have retirement plans in America. Most of us don't anymore. Some people get very lucky and still have them, but most of us have to put our own money. Sometimes the business will put some in for us, but we pretty much have to put our own money into the stock market and save it for retirement time. Okay, that's what typically we do. Sorry, I'm watching the people troll here. You know what? You're going just because you pissed me off and you I was just going to say that little son of a bitch threw my through my train of thought. I let him do it. Where is it? There it is. Bye-bye, Joey. Good to see you. There you go. Thanks, Ash. All right. Thank Blue. So, it's bad. Yeah. But I'm sorry. That's what I was going to say. So the final point here was, I don't think we should be cutting healthcare for seniors, for retired people. I don't think we should be cutting retirement benefits for seniors, which is what Social Security is, right? They can raise taxes. There's no reason we shouldn't pay to help seniors get their retirement benefits. Because, by the way, everyone gets to be a senior. If you live, we all get to be seniors. This is a program for everybody. It's not a program for just for rich people or for poor people or whatever, right? Social Security is for everybody. Medicare is for everybody. But Democrats, of course, are afraid to say, let's raise taxes, because who wants to say that politically? And Republicans literally say, if you raise taxes, we're throwing you out of office and we're going to cut. Every Republican president has lowered taxes because, it's what they do. And they've busted the budget every time they've done it. Well, you know what? They're going to cut your Social Security. They're going to cut your Medicare because they're cutting taxes. I would rather they don't cut those things. So let's move on. Let me see here. Ukraine. Let's move on to Ukraine. Really interesting Ukraine news today. You know how a couple days ago we had the Ukrainians destroying possibly 50% of Russia's operational nuclear bomber fleet, like 34% of the total fleet, but of the ones that were working, like maybe even 50%. The Ukrainians confirmed today that they damaged or destroyed 41 Russian planes. What's interesting about this is the Ukrainians confirmed today, after doing a battle damage assessment, right? You blow things up in the military and then you assess with satellites and everything. How did you do? Did you blow it up completely? Blah, blah, blah. In this case, the Ukrainians confirmed that they damaged or blew up or destroyed 41 airplanes. A lot of them are nuclear bombers. Some of them are other planes. For example, today we learned that in fact, Ukraine did damage 2 A-50 aircraft. These are the Russian AWACS planes. These are the planes, I say like a 747. I know it's not a 747, but it kind of like a 747, a huge plane. In America, it used to be 747, I seem to recall. Huge plane, thing on top sticking out, and then a big pancake, like a UFO, a circular thing on top of the plane. That's the AWACS plane. The Russians have a similar plane. The Ukrainians hit 2 of them. Reportedly, the Russians only had 6 operational. 6 operational. The Ukrainians already hit several previously in the war. That means Russia now has 4. That's not enough. The problem is, now mind you, what this plane does, This plane is able to see hundreds and hundreds of miles away. It can see planes taking off. It can see missiles in the sky. It's really good. I mean, you want to use it. You want to use it to protect the homeland, to see what Ukrainian missiles are coming in, drones, et cetera, are coming in across the border. You want to use it to coordinate your own attacks against Ukraine. Hugely important. Well, they're gone. For Russia to replace these planes, Callum today was saying Russia probably needs 6 of the planes. These planes cost anywhere from $300 million to $500 million each. Okay. Well, supposedly they've got 4 left. We think they've got 4 left, Winston. But they cost $300 million to $500 million, which is same in euros each. But it's worse than that. So if they need 6, which Callum said they do, that would be 1.8 million, $2 billion at least. Here's the problem. Sanctions mean a lot of the parts they need, they can't get. Let's pretend they can get the parts. Okay. They go to the black market, whatever. They need $2 billion to start with to pay for the new planes. But guess what? Russia doesn't make the planes anymore. Russia stopped making them. Not only did they stop making the nuclear bombers in 1991 when the Soviet Union went, boop, they stopped making these AWACS planes too, these reconnaissance planes. They can't make them. I was asking ChatGPT to look into it, and ChatGPT said, I said, okay, you keep telling me the plane might be $300 to $500 million each, but you also said they don't have the capacity to make the plane. How much money do they have to spend to create the capacity, to build the factories, right? To build the equipment they need to make the planes? ChatGPT said somewhere on the order of $3 billion. So to replace these planes and also get the extra ones, because they've got to replace the planes Ukraine already destroyed, the Russians might have to spend $6 billion. That's insane. This is great. I mean, it's really, it's just great news. Now, today we heard that the Ukrainians attacked the Kirch Bridge. Get my map of maps out. Kirch Bridge is a bridge Putin built, he's very proud of, from occupied Crimea. So all the yellow is Ukraine. Russia occupied Crimea in 2014. They also occupied this stuff in the last couple of years. They occupied Crimea. Putin built a bridge across from Kerch in Ukraine, across the water here, to Russia. All of this is Russia. Russia's also over here, but all of this is Russia. Previously, there was just a ferry going back from Kerch to Russia. Putin built a bridge, 2018 or so. Very proud of himself that he built this bridge. So the Ukrainians have been wanting to destroy this bridge forever, because it's Putin's pride and joy. It symbolizes Russia stealing Crimea from Ukraine, but also it's an important bridge. It's how the Russians are able to get supplies and troops and everything else across there, right? Well, the Ukrainians have attacked it previously. They caused a lot of damage before. They blew it up again this morning. But, well, I should say they caused a massive explosion this morning. What we know so far, well, I'm trying to think of, okay, I'm going to start because we also I had Callum on the show earlier this morning. We did a special show because Callum was a British military sapper, basically bombs expert. So Callum's our expert whenever we talk bombs. And we were talking about it. I had him look at the video. The Ukrainians released video. And the video shows an explosion going off near one of the supports of the bridge, which is what you want to do. A bridge is basically, right, sticks going up out of the water to hold up lanes, right? Like to hold up a highway. Well, you could blow up the highway, but that's easy to replace. They just get a new section of highway and put it in there. It's very easy. What you want to do is you want to blow up the support structures, the actual beams coming out of the water that are holding up the highway. That's what Ukraine did today. They planted explosives underneath the pilings. Okay, piling. I didn't know what you call them, pilings. Well, I'm also trying to use words that a non-Anglophone audience would understand. So I try to sort of explain things in a way, or pillars. I try to explain things in a way that, depending on your English, you could be able to do this, right? Oh, yeah, that's nice. Beep, 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 beep. I got that one myself. So the Ukrainians put the explosives below the water. They put it right up against the pillar, the support of the bridge, and a massive explosion today. Well, when you look at it, the support of the bridge is still standing. Callum had a look. And Callum, being the explosive expert, looking at the explosion, said, there's no way that piling or the pylon or God damn it. This is why I don't use these stupid words. There's no way that support is safe. He said 85% chance that support is ruined, that it's going to need to be replaced. The column holding up the bridge, 85% chance. The Russians didn't care. The Russians shut down traffic for a few hours and then turned it on again. There's a 0% chance that the Russians have been able to check if the bridge is safe. 0%. They let people drive on it anyway after a massive explosion. Now, why would you be worried about this? Well, this massive explosion is like an earthquake, right? If you have a massive earthquake, even if a building is still standing, you don't just say, well, the building's still standing, let's send everybody back inside. You've got to check the building for structural damage to make sure it's not going to fall apart. The bridge works the same way. Massive explosion means this support could be totally ruined. And if you put enough stress on it, actually, Callum was saying even a strong storm and strong waves could be enough to bring the bridge down. But certainly like military vehicles, the train, the Russians don't care. They put the traffic on it. But as I said, Callum said, I asked him, what percent chance do you think there is that the Ukrainians have destroyed this bridge in terms of it being critically damaged? He said 85% chance, he thinks. Because again, as an explosive expert looking at the explosion. Very interesting. Exactly. I wouldn't touch this bridge, but this is Russia. Let me get a little more here. Also from Ukraine's Ministry of Defense today, that was very interesting. Thank you, Tucker, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living. Your gifts pay the bills. Also, if you're on TikTok or YouTube, make sure you follow me or subscribe or whatever we call it. Although subscribers are something a little different. Actually, YouTube, TikTok use different words. You can follow me, so to speak. The other thing you can do is become a paying member, which would be very nice of you. So I would appreciate that. Thank you, Maluda. What were we saying? Ukrainian Ministry of Defense put out a weird statement today. They said that they released a video showing the explosion at one of the pillars. Thank you, Randy Fred. The Ukrainians directly the Ukrainians said today they put multiple bombs on the bridge. And they showed a video of one bomb going off. We don't know if they're telling the truth, although typically they don't lie. We don't know if multiple bombs went off in different locations, but we only saw one location on the video because maybe there wasn't video of the other locations. Thank you, South Seas. Thank you, Maluda. Thank you, Laddie. We don't know if there's multiple bombs and some of the bombs didn't work. Callum said the seawater can cause a lot of problems with the firing mechanism that can basically short it out. We don't know if maybe the Ukrainians are waiting and they're going to set off more bombs. We don't know. But I just wanted to mention it was very interesting that the Russians at least claimed that there are more explosives. What else we got here? Oh yeah. So as I told you, they've got what did I say? We got the bombers, which was great. The AWACS, which is great. Oh, White House spokeswoman. This was interesting. So I've been thinking Trump was going to go nuts at Ukraine over this. I do not believe they notified Trump. I mean, the White House has said repeatedly, including today, that Trump was not notified. Thank you, Tarad. We're doing more dragon over at TikTok. The White House says they weren't notified. That doesn't mean they're not notified. Knowing nothing. Oh, Lizzie, you're not Canadian because you wouldn't speak English like that. Without knowing nothing? That's not how we speak English. I actually, can I just say, this is making me laugh. We just had a troll who accused me of not knowing anything. And she said, you don't know nothing. I just have to say, when you accuse somebody of not knowing anything, you shouldn't say you don't know nothing. Because again, I'm assuming maybe those of you who aren't Anglophones might not pick up on it. That is horrifically improper English. It is uneducated English. So that if you were accusing someone of knowing nothing, you wouldn't do it in a way that suggests you don't know English properly. I should say uneducated English. It's not you don't know English as in you're a foreigner. It's you don't know English as in you're not well educated. Which is fine. I don't mind if people aren't very bright or aren't very educated, but you shouldn't accuse other people of being that way while doing it. It's not a good thing. Um, any case, it made me laugh. That was very funny. I know we don't get Russia does not send us their best and brightest. They really don't. In any case, oh yeah, Trump. So this was really interesting though. So the White House got asked again today about Ukraine's attack on the planes and everything else in Russia, and she refused to comment. She refused to not comment. She refused to criticize Ukraine. The Trump White House has made a decision not to criticize Ukraine. You know nothing. She didn't say you know nothing. She used a double negative. Maybe she, whatever. I don't know. I don't really care. She was rude. I'm not worried about it. Trade hard. She was rude. Any case. All right. But what were we saying with this? Oh yeah, the White House. So the White House has made an affirmative decision not to criticize the Ukrainians for this. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Exactly. All right. What else we got? The Ukrainians. I don't know that I care about this, but I'm sorry. This is a different story. At the same time this is going on in Ukraine, the chief of staff to Zelensky and the deputy prime minister are in the U.S. trying to build up the case for more sanctions against Russia. This sanction story against Russia is getting very interesting. It's getting very interesting. The Lindsey Graham, top Trump supporter, has been pushing it. He called for Ukraine to, or for the Congress. He put legislation forth for Congress to put additional sanctions on Russia because saying Russia isn't serious about peace. Trump certainly threatened it, but Trump is a taco, right? Trump always chickens out. And Trump, he's on Putin's side anyway. And right, all talk, and not just all talk. Trump is on Putin's side, right? But we've now got the Speaker of the House, the top Republican in the House of Representatives, who said today, there's many members of Congress that want us to sanction Russia as strongly as we can. I am an advocate of that. That's interesting. Lindsey Graham today went public again, big Donald Trump defender Republican. He's proposing that we use the $300 billion in seized Russian assets to pay for arms for Ukraine. When they say that, I think they mean quite literally, we will, because Trump would love this. We and the Europeans we froze $300 billion of Russia's money. Europe's got, I don't know, maybe 200 billion, 220 billion. America has 80 to 100 billion. What Lindsey Graham, Trump's ally, is saying is we should use the money to buy more weapons for Ukraine. In other words, America gets the money. Europe gets the money too, but it would go to our governments. It would go to our defense contractors. That's something Donald Trump would love. 275 billion in Europe, is it that much? Europe, because I know America, I want to say, has maybe 80 billion. I don't think it's that high, focus, maybe, but let me see here. How many dollars in Russian money are frozen in the US versus how much is in Europe? We're asking ChatGPT. I'm not convinced. I mean, I believe you if you researched it, but that European number is supposed to be smaller than that. European countries collectively hold 230 billion to 250 billion. That's not small. You were saying 270, so that's not off. 230 billion to 250 billion. Now, ChatGPT is claiming the U.S. only holds 5 billion. I remember the U.S. being closer to 80 to maybe to 80 billion. So I'm not convinced the U.S. only holds 5 billion. That may be true. In any case, so the thought is that basically our defense contractors get the money. Works for me. The other thing, listen to this. The other thing, they will use the money from the mineral deal, which I'm not convinced when that's happening, but the money from the mineral deal will also be to pay for more weapons. And this was my favorite. If China keeps buying cheap Russian oil, because China's buying cheap Russian oil in order to finance the Russian war machine. If China keeps buying cheap Russian oil, the U.S. will impose 500% tariffs on Chinese imports. Now, a part of that is pretty funny because it'd be fun to see. A part of that is very bad because, as we've already learned, the U.S. imports so much stuff from China that it would be incredibly punishing to American consumers if we did that. China also saw Donald Trump cave, right? Donald Trump, the taco, caved on his China tariffs, just like he caved on every other tariff. I'm not sure China would take that threat as being legitimate. I don't know. I'm not sure China would take that threat as being legitimate. Maybe. But in other words, I'm not totally convinced the Americans would be able to handle 500% tariffs on China for very long. I don't know. Again, they're dependent on us, but we're dependent on them. Thank you, Polly, for the massage. Thank you, PTX. Let me see here. I don't care about that. Final little story, and then we'll just hang out and talk. Ukraine has been invited to the upcoming NATO summit in the Netherlands. Remember the last NATO summit a couple weeks ago? Ukraine wasn't invited. The U.S. Trump made sure they weren't invited. Ukraine's been invited for years. For years, they have been invited. Trump uninvited them last time. The Dutch re-invited them this time. Now, did the Dutch do it? Did the U.S. have a say? Did the U.S. say no and the Dutch overruled us? Or did the Trump people want to send a message and they said, okay, we'll let the Ukrainians come? My suspicion, let's ask ChatGPT. I don't know what ChatGPT is going to know. My suspicion is the host can probably invite whoever they want, but they wouldn't do it if another major member said no, like the U.S. Let me see. At the next NATO summit in the Netherlands, Ukraine has been invited to attend, period. At the last one, the U.S. said Ukraine was not allowed to attend, period. If Ukraine's coming to this one, does that mean the U.S. has agreed to let Ukraine come, comma? Is it only the Netherlands that gets to decide since they're the host, comma? Or how is it decided who gets to come? Do all the NATO members get to vote or something? How does it work? I don't think we're going to quite know. ChatGPT, I'm going to guess they're going to say it's kind of by comity, by agreement, but let's see here. The process of inviting non-NATO member states like Ukraine involves both host country discretion and consensus among all NATO states. How NATO summit invitations. Host nation role. The summit host country formally issues the invitations, including to NATO members, but the host does not act alone. They consult with NATO Secretary General and the North Atlantic Council. Consensus required. NATO decisions, including who gets invited, are made by consensus, meaning all 32 member states must agree. If even one NATO country objects strongly to an invitation, it can block the guest participation. Okay, I'm kind of fascinated by that. Even if the Netherlands wanted Ukraine to attend, it could not override a U.S. objection. Okay, I'm kind of surprised by that. If that's correct, then it means Trump changed his mind on this one and agreed to let Ukraine come. Thank you, Marty, for the gift. Thank you, Sandra. Marty, for a couple gifts there. Thank you, Sandra. So that's actually very interesting. Because again, Trump didn't let Ukraine come a couple weeks ago. He's letting them come now. That's very interesting. Maybe he, more dragons. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ash. Maybe Trump is getting pissed at Russia. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this. Thank you, Gabe, for the cap. Poland. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. I just don't know enough about the new government in Poland and whether that's going to make a difference or whatever. I don't know. That was the other thing. Shane just mentioned the minerals being years from being extracted. That's what I'd read. I read that this mineral deal could take 10 years or something or 20 years to bear fruit. So I don't know how they're going to get money now to sort of buy arms for Ukraine. So also, I don't know to what degree it's legal for the U.S. I forgot to make my third and final coffee today. I think I may have to make a coffee as we're talking, guys. Let's do this. I'm going to make a quick Nespresso as we're talking. I'll keep coming back. Keep coming back here because... Oh, shit. Really? Not enough water, too? Kidding me? Up. All right. I think that's the right one. Did I even put it in here yet? Yep. There we go. All right. Coffee's coming. Well, I usually have like a third cup. It's a little late. I also made a smoothie and had a little chocolate in it. So I'm kind of like, but I'm a little afraid that like in 3 hours, I'm going to have a headache if I don't have my third pocket coffee. That's true. I could have had a pocket coffee. That's true. That's true. Well, because it's an espresso. So like my water was down to this level and I was like, oh shit, that's not going to be enough. So it's not going to be enough. Did TikTok glitch out for me yesterday? No. Some biscuits? No. I'm gonna make some dinner afterwards. I've got some leftover food I've got to make because otherwise my food's gonna get bad. So Reason says, I discussed the new Polish president on a stream yesterday, partly recorded. Sorry, the sound was terrible and it was tired after work. What did you determine as far as what's the deal in terms of Ukraine, the West, all of that? Grab my coffee. All right. One moment. Oops. All right. Sugar. There we go. All right. Almost there, folks. All right. All right. Milk. Maybe I do have to buy milk tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I do have to add milk to my list. I think I may. All right. There we go. I got my coffee. I'm thinking I have to add, hey Siri, add coffee to my Harris Teeter list. I don't think it's doing that. Add coffee to my Harris Teeter list. Trying to add coffee to my shopping list. It's not being very good here. Oh, it did. It worked. Okay, good. Okay. When you get like so hooked on your computer, you know. Oh, you just got the notice that my show is starting? That's hilarious. We're 45 minutes into it. I don't think there's any way to tell TikTok. I don't think there's a human being to complain to at TikTok. Your brain kept that word? What do you mean, Ash? There we go. Num, 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 num. There we go. Much better. Much better. All right. Anyway, that's it for the news today, guys. So let's hang out and chat. Our usual, we hang and chat. It is good. I mean, it's an espresso, but it's good. All right. Oh, hello, kneading cat, meerkat. Thank you, Lori. Oh no, Lori, this is the meerkat. That was a different cat. Oh, that was Cynthia with the kitten kneading. Oh, thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Lori, for the meerkat. Marty, dance. Thank you, Danan, as well. What ramping of attacks on journalists is happening? Where, Lonely? The best coffee? There's a French coffee I really like called Carte Noire, which I was showing you guys before. It's awfully good. I'd have to think if I can remember a coffee that I've paid for that I've gone out to get. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had a coffee that was like a delicious coffee that I bought. So, I mean, I've had good coffee. Like I said, when I made my own coffee, I mean, this coffee is quite good. When I made my other coffee, it was quite good, but I don't know. Oh yeah, these are I love this. These are, I'm trying to think if these are American or French. I don't recall. They might be French, actually. Like last time I was in France 10 years ago, I brought back a bunch of the glass containers because I love them. They've also got wonderful containers for like the desserts, but they're glass and they're round and they're fluted and they're beautiful. They're like, what do you call them? Like creme brulee containers. And I brought them back because they're beautiful and I use them for I'll show you. I use them for everything. This is my like creme brulee container from France. You can see I was recently using it for eggshells. I was keeping my eggshells drying in here. So I've still got little bits, and then I give the eggshells to the plants. But I love these things. They're ramekins, yeah. But aren't they? I just think, I literally was in Paris and I was like, I'm bringing these home. Oh, I'm sure you can buy them. There are some of the, yes. Some of the stuff in Costco was not good though. I tried buying some of the French desserts in Costco and I didn't like them. But actually this was not even creme brulee. This was the chocolate. They have a really nice chocolate too. Like chocolate pudding that I would buy. That was really good. Oh my God. Again, French desserts in the grocery store. Oh, ooh la la. I mean, oh my, there's a Paris Costco. Funny. Yeah. Creme brulee glass. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same containers. They're great. Yep. from Wee Yogurt or Quee Yogurt. Yeah, my nephew got the coffee made with animal feces. It's from Indonesia, I believe from Bali. Anyway, French pate as well. Actually, I do have you're right about that. I've got glass jars. I think I've got glass jars in my cat. Now that you're saying this. Oh, I've got glass jars though. Yeah. I was coming back from Italy and I was in the airport in Paris. I had like an hour and a half layover and I was like, I'm going shopping. They had terrine de canard. Oh my God, this is a duck terrine, but it's in a glass container. I don't know. I guess I don't know that I would save this. It's a nice little glass container, but oh my God, terrine de canard. Oh la la. Very good stuff. I've got to get some. Oh. I've got to get some good bread. Get some good bread and duck into that thing. So good. Flavor? This is just coffee with milk. We're getting into our food discussion. Yes, there's a new Iran nuclear deal. It's actually the same as the old Iran nuclear deal. Literally, Breitbart, the big right-wing news outfit, the big MAGA news outfit, said that that literally the nuclear deal that Trump came up with was the Obama deal that Trump killed. And he now brought it back and he's proposing the exact same thing that Obama had, which is absolutely freaking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So that made me, making sure that, hold on. There we go. Moving the camera away so it's not this way. When I jostle the table, the camera doesn't move. So very funny. Very funny. I speak 5, Poppy, but who's counting? Thank you. Pot de crème, c'est ça. Wait, that's it. That's it. All right. See, we're all talking Keurig now. It's not duck fat. It's duck meat, but there could be some fat. It's very fatty. So I'm sure there's probably duck fat in there too, Katie. Yeah, I'm sure there is. See, now I'm flying because I had my coffee. That's the one danger of having coffee this late. I'm like, like, woo, John's on coffee. Whee! It's okay, obviously. So anyway, yes, we can talk about, I do not speak German. Ich sprechen kein Deutsch. That's all I can do. And I'm sure that was wrong, but that's all I can do in German. India, Pakistan. Good question on that. We haven't heard anything. Thank you, Marsha, for the gift. We have not heard anything about India and Pakistan. This is true. So no idea. No idea. Do I see Iran getting nukes? Maybe. Very scary stuff. And we can't let Iran get nukes. So it's a little scary. Yeah. So we'll see. Your Indian friends say the war is over. Both sides won. No, or both sides declared victory. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like much is going on. I mean, Pakistan was talking about responding like at the moment of their choosing, but it looks like maybe both sides just kind of said, okay, let's stop this. We don't know when the Senate is voting on Trump's big bill, the tax cuts and for the rich and everything else, the cuts in food stamps. It could be another month from now. The estimates I was saying was like it was going to take a month to negotiate. No news about U.S.-Greenland war other than the U.S. just moved Greenland from some, like, I don't quite understand this. Maybe you military folks do, but there's some like the division of the division of power in the military or whatever. Greenland was with Europe and now it's been moved somewhere else to a different part of the Pentagon or whatever that's thinking about it. And the idea is we're saying that Greenland is no longer a part of Europe. Like it's just some bullshit Trump thing, basically. But that just happened in the last day. Yeah. But yeah, Elon Musk is not happy. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. Elon called it, did he call it absolutely disgusting? What was the quote from Elon? Hold on. Elon's quote was a disgusting abomination. He called Trump's tax cut bill. Hee hee. Yes, it is much scarier if Iran has nuclear weapons than the US, China, Russia, Pakistan, or Israel. Yes. Yes. Israel, absolutely. China, well, okay, it depends. Israel's not a problem having nukes. Russia is a pain in the ass having nukes. Pakistan and India, a little scary having nukes, but they've been responsible. I trust India more with nukes than I do Pakistan, just because. Russia and China, of course, we wish they didn't have nukes because they're our enemies. I mean, let's put this in simple terms. And they're also belligerent countries. Iran, terrorist state. I don't want terrorists having nuclear weapons. I think that's a whole other level of danger, in my view. Thank you, Marcia. In my view, that's a whole other level of danger. But as I said, China and Russia, of course, we wish Russia didn't have nukes, right? Because then, for example, we would have given Ukraine all the weapons they wanted early on. Thank you, Addie. That's the problem. Linda says, how do you stop Iran from having them? That's the problem. Israel was preparing to do some strikes, but 20 years ago, I was talking to defense experts about this. 20 years ago, thank you, Addie. Thank you, William, about how do you stop Iran from getting nukes? And they said we would have to bomb the hell out of Iran. 20 years ago, too many of the Iranian nuclear facilities, meaning nuclear weapons, production, research, whatever facilities, are underground, buried in mountains and things. We wouldn't be able to get at them, even with the best bombs we've got. We would have to send troops. And at the time, I want to say the estimate was 20 to 40,000 American troops on the ground in Iran. This was the estimate 20 years ago of what we would need. So God only knows what we would need today. I can ask ChatGPT. I don't know that ChatGPT is going to know, although maybe it knows. Let me ask this. In order to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, let's assume that we have to launch a military invasion, period. What would the U.S. and its allies need to do to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities, period? Meaning, what kind of invasion would we need? How many troops would we need? What kind of attack, would we need a ground invasion? If so, with how many troops? How long would it take? What would be our casualties? What's the best thinking that's out there on the internet from the experts about if we even can stop Iran from getting nukes, but also what it would take militarily from us to do it? Let's see. That's a ChatGPT question, but I tried to frame it in the sense of go and look at what the experts are saying, not just you. Hold on here. Military operation aimed at dismantling Iran's nuclear capabilities would be an immensely complex and high-risk endeavor. NATO airstrikes. Experts widely agree that a comprehensive air campaign targeting Iran's nuclear facilities would be the primary approach. Such strikes would aim to damage or destroy key sites around Iran. However, many of these facilities are fortified underground and dispersed across the country, making them challenging. A full-scale ground invasion is considered highly unlikely due to the enormous troop requirements, potential for high casualties, and the risk of prolonged conflict. Estimates suggest that hundreds of thousands of troops would be needed. See, this is the problem. Thank you, Marsha, for the gift. Thank you, Yoga Boga. You would need hundreds of thousands of troops for a ground invasion. Military strikes are expected to delay Iran's nuclear program by a few years at best. Iran's accumulated... Oh, thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Marsha. Iran's accumulated technical expertise and the potential to rebuild facilities means that the program could be reconstituted relatively quickly. An attack could lead to Iran to withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Actually, now I think it's called the Non-Proliferation Treaty. When I was younger, we called it the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And accelerate its nuclear ambitions covertly. Civilian casualties, military casualties, regional stability. Michael Eisenstadt emphasizes that a preventative attack would likely initiate a prolonged campaign. Well, that doesn't seem... Okay, but what do the experts say happens next? We bomb the hell out of Iran with planes, and we set them back a couple of years. Then what happens? In 2 years, we've got to bomb the hell out of them again and set them back another 2 years? We're asking ChatGPT. Experts overwhelmingly agree military strikes can delay Iran's nuclear program, but not eliminate it. What happens in 1 to 2 years? Iran rebuilds underground, hardened, faster. Iran has the technical knowledge and personnel to rebuild. After a strike, Iran would likely go underground, both literally and figuratively. Rebuilding could take 2 to 3 years, possibly less. Iran withdraws from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT. A strike would likely push Iran to formally exit. This would mirror North Korea's path. Exit treaty, build in secret, test a weapon. Nuclear weapons become a strategic imperative. Repeat bombing campaign. To stop Iran, you likely need a mowing the lawn strategy. Oh, that's kind of funny. Bombing every few years to delay progress. That means permanent vigilance and political will to keep striking indefinitely. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Michael Hayden, who we like, former CIA, NSA director. Military strikes can't solve this. You hit them and they rebuild. You delay the problem. You don't solve it. A strike buys you time. Israeli military intelligence in 2022 said a strike would set back Iran 1 to 2 years max and would likely provoke open war with Iran and Hezbollah, possibly with U.S. targets in the region. So, yeah, it's a mess, guys. It's a mess. Unless the U.S. is willing to launch repeated attacks for decades, a strike alone won't stop Iran from eventually getting nuclear weapons. Wow. Wow. Decades of war with Iran if we want to stop them. I mean, wow. So, yeah. Not great news. I don't know. Having said that, I don't think we have a choice. Meaning, if Iran tries to get nuclear weapons, they're going to get hit. There is no way in hell that the United States is going to allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. It's never going to happen. And I mean, literally, I could see strikes taking out Iranian leadership if that happens. I mean, it's open war with Iran in a bad way, but you can't allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. You can't. There's just no way. Israel won't let it happen either. Correct. Smop just said that's correct, because Iran gets nukes and Iran threatens to bomb Israel, and they might. Now, having said that, Israel has got over 100 nuclear weapons in principle. Well, what I mean in principle is the number. We've known Israel has had nukes for decades. But Israel may have 100, I think, is the latest number. How many nuclear weapons does Israel have, and what kind of systems are they on? This is all super secret, but let's see what this... I know some of them might be on submarines, I think, of all crazy things. Approximately 90 nuclear warheads with sufficient fissile material to potentially assemble up to 200 warheads. Israel is believed to have developed a nuclear triad. Land-based missiles, the Jericho-3 ICBM is estimated to have a range of 4,800 kilometers to 6,500 kilometers. Submarine-launched cruise missiles, that's what I was going to say. I remember them having sub-launched missiles. These missiles have a range of 1,500 kilometers. Aircraft, the Israeli Air Force F-15 and F-16 fighters are capable of delivering nuclear weapons. Okay. And can Israeli submarine-launched cruise missiles and Israeli land-based missiles hit Iran? Nuclear missiles. Israel has the capacity to strike Iran with nuclear weapons for both submarine-launched and land-based systems. Okay. So, yeah, that's that. And I will say that will probably stop Iran from doing it, because I guarantee you, if Iran were to nuke Israel, Israel's going to nuke them back. Ahmed, stop trying to interrupt the show. You're being obnoxious. We have another Palestinian, the same Palestinian guy who comes and tries to interrupt every show is back. You're being obnoxious. You're pissing people off. And if you think you're helping your cause, you're really not, because you're convincing people that you're very rude and obnoxious movement, which is not helpful at all. But I've told you guys, these Palestinians come every day and they try to interrupt the show. It's incredibly rude. In any case, even though I've turned it off, of course, God bless TikTok. I've turned off the guest thing. People can still come and interrupt the show. It's just classic TikTok, but it's also these guys. This guy every day comes and tries to interrupt the show. It's the rudest thing. Again, my feelings on this. Not the nicest political movement that's been around for the last 80 years. Israel's got its problems. Palestinians, not the nicest political movement of the last 100 years. Lots of terrorism, not very nice. Israel, also not very nice. But I got news for you. Both sides, not very nice. So congratulations, Ahmed. You've just convinced me to go public and once again talk about the Palestinians' 100-year history of terrorism. So good job. Dog wants water. We're not talking about the Palestinians today. Of course, we can. Ahmed's not going to like it if we do. Right. Every freaking time they interrupt the show, we're going to talk about it. So anyway. Yeah, Israel won't disclose how many nukes are ready to launch. Of course not. Yeah. I mean, their nuclear program is so secret. Though I wouldn't be. I mean, okay. How many nuclear weapons does Israel have ready to launch? I'm going to guess it might be the 100, to be honest. It might be the 100. Israel's estimated to possess approximately 90 nuclear weapons. We know that. Ready to launch is not publicly known. Oh, interesting. The U.S. and Russia maintain a portion of their nuclear forces on high alert, prompt launch status. Thank you for the gift there, Janice and Bowie. Israel's posture is less transparent. Some analysts suggest that Israel's nuclear weapons are stored in a semi-assembled state, requiring preparation before launch, while other experts believe that a subset may be maintained at a higher readiness level to ensure a credible second strike capability. Interesting. So they don't know. Israel's nuclear strategy is often associated with the Samson option, a doctrine that implies the use of nuclear weapons as a last resort in the face of existential threats. This strategy serves as a deterrent, signaling that any attempt to destroy Israel could result in devastating retaliation. Okay, so we don't really know. I would say my suspicion would be if you're Israel, especially with Iran, you have to keep some nuclear weapons ready, probably ready to go right now, would be my guess. I think you'd have to. Because the concern with Iran you hear is everyone say, oh, Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, but there's a chance they do. You know? Tour de France? No, because I never cared, Alec. But I mean, like, I just don't care about the sport. So I never did. No. Sorry, but that's why. Alec was asking if I ever saw the Tour de France. What is the chance that Iran actually already has nuclear weapons, period? I always thought the conventional wisdom was that they don't, but then I remember hearing experts in the last year or two who said, well, there's a chance they've already got them. Let's see what ChatGPT says about that. Thank you, Russell. Multiple gifts there. Official position, Iran does not have nukes. As of 2025, the U.S. intelligence community, in its most recent public threat assessments, maintains that Iran is not currently building a nuclear weapon, although it has expanded its enrichment and could develop one if it chooses to. The International Atomic Energy Agency reports that Iran is enriching uranium to 60% purity, short of the 90% needed. Here's where the doubt comes in. Breakout time is now weeks, not years. Iran now has enough fuel or nuclear material, uranium, highly enriched uranium, that it could, in theory, produce a bomb's worth of 90% enriched uranium in under 2 weeks. Weapons design and miniaturization may already be complete based on older intelligence. IAEA access has been severely limited. Nuclear hedging strategy. Possibility of undeclared sites or stockpiles. Handful of experts like Israel's ex-Mossad officials have suggested that Iran might have already built a rudimentary device and is keeping it in reserve as a political trump card. U.S. officials, former U.S. officials Robert Einhorn and Matthew Kronig have both warned that we're far closer to a nuclear Iran than most people realize, even if an actual weapon hasn't been tested. So, yeah. So the real concern is Iran is possibly a couple of weeks away from building a nuke if they wanted to. And also, some people are concerned, like former Mossad people, they think Iran already built a small nuclear device. Oh, dog wants more water. All right, 1 second here. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you try to do the negotiations we're doing with Iran, and at the same time, you also let them know they develop a nuke and their government's going to be flattened. And I think that's the only, and they have to know, like, literally, we're going to, and we're going to keep going after, and literally taking out their government ministries. What the Israelis do, taking out government officials. You know, the dog has had a drinking problem for 15 years, Val. You are correct. She does. It's been 15 and a half years. So nothing we can do about it. Been to the vet tons of times. There's literally nothing. The vet said she drinks a lot of water. Give her water. I was like, okay. Anyway, what else? Don't know, Mike. Mike is asking, did Russia give Iran nuclear information to help it build its nukes? I would hope so. No, excuse me. I would hope not. I would think even for the Russians, they don't want Iran to have nukes. I mean, that's like too much for the Russians. I would think that's like too risky for Russia. Crazy nuclear Iran on your border. Like, I don't know. That'd be very risky, I would think. Would Iran even believe Taco? Believe him on what? 707? Yeah, we'll go for another couple of minutes and then we'll quit. Since my voice is behaving, we don't want to ruin it. All right. Beep, 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 beep. God, my plants are doing so well. I've been so happy this spring. I told you I put compost on my plants and worm casings and they exploded. It's kind of funny. Hey, Vitaly, good to see you. If Israel has nukes, why not Iran too? Because Iran is a crazy terrorist state. Israel is not. Do you see Israel using nuclear weapons in Gaza? You do not. Would Iran use nuclear weapons? They might. So, yep. The worm castings seem to be quite effective. And like I said, I have a container garden. I used manure this year and worm castings. Oh my God. I mean, insane. My plants exploding. Absolutely insane. It doesn't matter what you think Israel is. Israel is not a terrorist state. They're not. We're talking in the real world here. We're not talking about whether you do or don't like Israel's policy in Gaza. It doesn't even matter how many Palestinians they've killed in Gaza. They're not a terrorist state that is using nuclear weapons. Iran is a terrorist state that could use nuclear weapons. Israel is not. So doesn't matter what you think of what they're doing in Gaza. They're not using nuclear weapons, so they're not going to use nuclear weapons. Worm castings is worm poop. It's incredibly rich for and manure compost. Yep. Very effective. Does the dog bark? Oh yeah, when she wants to, she barks. She also whines a lot, which is incredibly annoying. She's like 20 times a day, an hour and a half before dinner. It's like, but yeah, the worm castings are. I think it may be the manure though. I told you, I got. Actually, Amazon, I told you, I got like a 40-pound bag or something, or 25-pound bag of compost on Amazon for maybe $20. And put it on my plants. My geraniums exploded, but a lot of my plants are looking insane this year. I never realized. I think they probably were, needing more nutrients and stuff, but they're looking amazing. So yeah, I've been very happy. I don't know enough about Iran to say, I do know some. Bob is saying, why don't the Iranian people rise up against their leadership? Iran is a police state. 30%, we had an Iran expert on a couple of years ago. 30% of the country actually is in agreement with the leadership. They run a police state. They clamp down and kill you if you disagree. They've killed a lot of the student leaders that rose up a couple times now in the last several years. So, check out I was very impressed on Amazon, meaning if you're somebody like me where you don't have a car, it's not easy to go and buy 30 pounds of manure or 30 pounds of anything, right? Amazon, it was maybe $25 for 25 pounds, more or less. I was very surprised. And it was good. It came. I used most of it already. You can use it pretty quickly. I put a bunch in my different plants, but it was quite good night, Ash. It was quite good. But yes, any sign of dissent will get you taken out in Iran. That is correct, what Chaos just said. So that helps to stop insurrections when it's a police state, because they'll kill you, It depends. It's real manure, of course. It's compost, so it's been treated however one treats it. I don't know, but it's treated so it's hygienic or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? For plant purposes. Bash Brannigan says, if you take out Iranian leadership, do you have to occupy the country? Yes and no. You could not. The thing is, what your question really is what I always tell people. One of the things we learned at Georgetown was, if you're going to take out the leader of a country, assassination, overthrow, whatever, you better know what's coming next or who's coming next. Because a lot of countries, dictatorships, certainly, the country is held together by the dictator. And if the dictator goes, the country falls apart. Soviet Union, held together by the dictatorship overall of the Communist Party. Communist Party got overthrown, so to speak, by Gorbachev. He dismantled it, and the Soviet Union fell apart. And it fell apart into 15 different countries. Now, Soviet Union was one country, Russia, actually holding 14 other countries hostage. So, but nonetheless, it was holding a fake country together that then fell apart. Now, Putin is also holding a fake country together in many ways in terms of Russia. There's thoughts that if Putin were to die, who knows whether, or if there were a revolution, Russia could fall apart into a lot of different, 150 countries, maybe even, right? So the Iranian question would be, what your question kind of is, what comes next? And the question is, if you take out the Iranian leadership in order to stop the nuclear weapons or whatever, would the alternative be better? Would you even know what alternative would take over? Current situation in Syria, there isn't much going on, Sarah. I mean, what I mean is there isn't a lot of talk about what's going on in Syria, really. There's no news. I mean, we're lifting the sanctions. There was something in the last day or two, people weren't thrilled. But I don't know whether I think they were trying to integrate former terrorists or somebody in the government or in the military or something. And people were not thrilled about that. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So, but yes, that is a concern. But if Iran is getting nuclear weapons and the only way to stop them is taking out the Iranian leadership, you may not have a choice. Let me put it this way. You would have to balance and say, okay, if we take out the Iranian leadership, we don't know what's coming next. It could be worse. If we don't take out the Iranian leadership, they're getting nuclear weapons, which we know is bad. So you might err on the side of taking out the Iranian government if that was the only way to stop them from getting nuclear weapons, because getting nuclear weapons, is bad in a country like Iran that's a terrorist state. So that could be, my point is, that could be the calculation, is they don't know what's coming next. It might be a disaster, but it's better than nukes, But yeah, Israel wouldn't allow it, and there's no way the United States would allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. No way in hell. Certainly not a Republican president, probably not a Democratic president either. I can't imagine. But it would require, and the thing is, it would require, as I said, I don't think it's just taking out the facilities. Maybe it is. I kind of feel like it's taking out the government, and it's sending a signal to the government officials. Any government officials who support Iran going nuclear will no longer be government officials. It would be, and that means we're at war with Iran, like really at war. And Iran launches terrorist attacks in Europe. It would be a very bad situation, but we're talking about Iran getting nukes. It's a bad situation in general, So anyway, an S-70. What is an S-70, Brian? I don't know what that is. What is it? Is it one of the planes in Ukraine? Remember, I'm foreign policy guy and not military guy. What is an S-70? I'm going to guess it's a Russian plane, one of the ones maybe the Ukrainians took out. Russian stealth combat drone. You don't mean that, do you? Oh. Well, it says Russian stealth combat drone, but it's a shape similar to a B-2. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, another Palestinian. What a surprise, coming to harass us. Nice. Yeah, great. They're not a terrorist state. It's different. Israel is not going to be using nuclear weapons. Iran is a terrorist state. Doesn't matter if Israel kills and you don't like it. That's fine. They may be war crimes. Just because you commit war crimes doesn't mean you're a terrorist state. Iran literally is a terrorist state. They're terrorists, the government in Iran. They support terrorist movements around the world. It's different. Russia is not, I would say Russia, for example, is not a terrorist state. Russia commits acts of terror. Russia commits war crimes. But to call Russia a terrorist state, Iran is literally a government of terrorists in Iran. It's different. Again, we use our language carefully because this is Russia's genocidal, yes, but we use our language carefully because we're mature, intelligent adults. We don't use language simply because it makes us feel good. You don't call countries terrorist states just because you don't like them or just because they've done very bad things. That terrorism has a specific definition. Exactly. Like DJ is saying the U.S. is a terrorist state. That's my point. Usually it's said like that, which is goofy people saying it's a terrorist state because I don't like them. It's not genocidal either. No. Israel, I think, is committing war crimes. They're not genocidal. Palestinians would be gone if it was genocidal. They're not. Genocidal is trying to like kill everybody. They're not. Are they committing war crimes? Yeah. Well, now you're gonna list. They're saying France. Now you're gonna list everybody. I'm not getting into this discussion. We're not going to discuss this. I've told you guys before. This is a topic we can't discuss online because people are not sane about it. The Middle East is a topic you generally can't discuss. Israel and the Palestinians you can't discuss because people go crazy. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. Can't do it. Anyway, all right, guys, it's 7:17. I'm going to go because I don't want to ruin my voice, and my voice is being very good tonight. So it was starting to get, well, you got to split hairs. That's the way definitions work. PC definitions are about meeting tests of whether something is A or something is B. And sometimes there's fine gradations. So yes, I will split hairs when we're talking about definitions of countries. You just don't use words to describe countries that make you feel good. Countries are not terrorist states because you don't like them. They're not even terrorist states because they commit war crimes. That isn't the definition of a terrorist state. It's not the definition of terrorism, even, And like I said, I don't like Russia, but I'm not going to use incorrect terminology to describe Russia because I don't like them or because I think they commit horrible crimes, and they do. But that doesn't mean I'm going to use incorrect language to describe them. That ain't what this show is about. This show is about being smart and intelligent. All right. Let's go, guys. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to sign off and come back tomorrow because I don't want to ruin my voice. So I'll be back tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for following. Exactly. Thank you for defending facts. Thank you, Yoga. But join us tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern. Do follow me before you leave on TikTok and YouTube. That way you can check out my blog. I do videos throughout the day as well, but maybe TikTok might give you a notice next time I go live. You never know. Thank you, Shawnee. All right. YouTube. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Amanda. All right. Not YouTube. That was Discord. Sorry. All right. YouTube. See you guys. Thanks for joining. Vodka, bribes, and defenestrations. Oh, what is Russia? Jason's playing his own version of Jeopardy there. That was cute. All right. Bye, YouTube. Good to see you guys. All right. And then TikTok.